Welcome back to this week's edition of Walk Off Wednesday. We finally have the highly anticipated. I've been, hinting at it for the past 3 shows ever since we started this about the MLB trade deadline special. Here it is. We got a lot to break down. Before we get into anything, just a reminder to follow along on all the TWSN social media accounts. Like I said, we react to our trades here in the comments. Just interact with us. We love interacting with you guys, so please never be afraid to do that. But let's just go ahead and get right into things a little bit. We got a little bit of a direction we were going to go. We're going to start off by just talking about some teams that probably are going to be active, but we don't necessarily know what they're going to do. We're going to start off with the team of destiny, Matt, the Seattle Mariners. What are we kind of looking? What kind of deadline are we expecting from them?
Yeah, the Mariners are an interesting team because, they went on that long winning streak. They kind of vaulted themselves into second place in the AL West, and they want to make the playoffs. Like, let's be honest about this. The Mariners want to make the playoffs. They haven't made it in forever. Their fans are desperate for a playoff run. Just even seeing a playoff game in their home stadium, so they got to do something, right? Like, for me, if I'm the Mariners, I'm looking. If you want to make a splash, right, like a big splash, Juan Soto is a name to keep an eye out for because I think the Mariners could put together a nice package for Juan Soto. But a name that a lot of people aren't linking the two together is Luis Castillo. I really like the fit of Luis Castillo on this Mariners team because Castillo would instantly become their number one, at least in my opinion, and he would give them a solidified starter for the stretch run here. I mean, they don't play in that great of a division, let's be honest, other than the Astros.
Yeah.
But you still need a guy who can go out there and give you 6 to 8 innings of domination. So I really like Castillo for this Mariners team.
I think they're obviously going to be pretty hard buyers. I just can't determine how hard I think they're going to buy because I do think, they're a little bit of a younger team. They're going to not be too overly aggressive because they are good. I could see them buying more of a mid-level starter. If you're going to talk about the Reds, a guy like Tyler Mahle makes a little more sense. Or even if you go to Arizona, the Merrill Kellys of the world, the Paul Blackburns of the world. I know that's in their Division 1, so that probably won't happen. But those kind of guys, plus a utility bat, a guy like Brandon Drury of the Reds, again, some of those guys that kind of can just fill in and, not going to cost too much. They're not going to ruin their future. They can kind of come in and produce right away. I don't know. Like you said, they could totally go after some of those big names. But I don't know. I really just don't know what they're going to do. I think, obviously, they have the core for the future. But it's just really going to determine how they feel about this team now and if they really want to full send it or not. Because currently, they're balling.
I don't even think they need to make a move to make the playoffs. I don't.
I agree.
But I think if they want to ensure themselves that they kind of reach the postseason this year, they do something. Whether it's a big splash like a Castillo or Soto, or just some minor moves on the edges just to kind of round out that roster.
Yeah. Another team now. The World Series champs, man. The Atlanta Braves have been all over the place this year. They had the slow start, and then they got extremely hot. And now, they've been pretty like a normal baseball team since. But Adam Duvall recently announced done for the year. Ian Anderson's been really shaky. This team needs a little more oomph to get back to the World Series. Is there any other names? What kind of ideas are you thinking for their deadline approach?
Yeah, so the Braves have caught the Mets. Let's just tell it like it is. They've caught up to the Mets after the Mets were dominating. They're a game and a half back. I think a move for a guy like Andrew Benintendi would be perfect for this team. We saw last year the Braves kind of just went and got all of these outfielders, revamped that roster. Granted, they had some injuries and whatnot last season, but a guy like Benintendi would come in there. He has some postseason experience.
Got a World Series ring.
To go alongside this Atlanta team, and he's a veteran, and I think
really
he fit in really well. Or if they want to do something a little crazier, go call up San Francisco. Try to get Jock Peterson back. He clearly fit in with that culture last year. Bring him back. Why not? Get that left-handed bat back into that lineup.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that, man, obviously losing Adam Duvall is tough. I think they're definitely going to be in the market for, like their outfitters that they bought last year. But I think they might be a little worried about their starting pitching as well because Ian Anderson has not been there. I could, again, see them call up a team. Again, before, the Arizona Diamondbacks, I'm going to mention them a few times. If they could package a deal to get David Peralta plus Merrill Kelly, like guys that you can just kind of rely, you know what to expect from them a little bit. Like with Ian Anderson, he's good when he's good, but he's also really bad when he's bad. So it's just like kind of getting that consistency, I think, is kind of something that makes a little bit of sense for them.
What about a guy like Madison Bumgarner?
Arizona again, yeah.
Adding in like a veteran starting pitcher to this Braves staff that he's clearly a dominant postseason pitcher. They're gonna make the postseason, whether that's the division or the wild card.
I could
Why
see it.
not? Why not try to get Arizona? I think Arizona's gonna move him, so
That's a
why
fun
not get a
little one.
lefty in there?
I don't know how aggressive they'll be. Again, I don't think they'll be too aggressive, but I still think, another team that's going to play a big part in the deadline, Cincinnati Reds. I think they could easily go get a Tyler Malley plus a Tyler Naquin or a Brandon Drury to take out that outfield spot, plus shore up your starting pitching. You can kind of say the same thing about the Oakland A's. Paul Blackburn plus an outfielder of some sort. Like, I think the Braves are going to kind of look for a team that can provide both of their needs because they don't want to dish out too many prospects. I think the Braves are going to be looking to buy a lot, but I don't think they're going to try to buy but give up as minimal as possible. I don't think they're going to be wildly aggressive in like the big names, but they're going to get some
They don't
lower.
need to be.
They're going to get some lower level guys that just end up being really good. So
Well, they don't need to be that aggressive. Like
they don't.
if they want to be, they can, but they don't need to. This is the team that is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the postseason.
Absolutely.
We've seen it over the last couple of seasons. Like they get in, you don't want to play this team.
Yeah,
There's not many teams that can beat them. They're a really good baseball team.
that
So
they are.
they can kind of stand pat. They can add a little smaller piece, or they can go and make a huge deal. They have that luxury that a lot of teams just don't
Yeah,
have.
the thing that holds them back a little bit is just their farm system's pretty not good, to be kind about it. So we'll see how that kind of affects things. But we're moving on to our next two teams, both in the same division. We're gonna start with the White Sox. I think they've kind of found themselves a little bit over these last few weeks before the All-Star break, and then a little bit after. But a really team that had a lot of high expectations. It's just, I don't know what they're going to do at the deadline because they've just been underperforming. Like, I don't know if that's not a talent issue on the team, but this is one of the teams where I don't know what to expect from them.
Yeah, I mean they've kind of came on towards the end, right before the All-Star break. I'm gonna throw out a name that I'm not sure has been talked about a lot, and that's Ketel Marte. If the Diamondbacks are willing to trade him,
It's always a question.
I think he would fit perfectly with this White Sox team. Like him and Tim Anderson
Yeah.
would give them an incredible hitting duo there. And I think they might be able to kind of get over the hump a little bit that they haven't been able to. Like the White Sox have been good the last couple of seasons. They've been that young up and coming team, but postseason hit comes around and they just kind of falter. So
Yeah.
I think getting a bat like Marte would kind of improve their chances.
I don't hate it. It's just always going to come down to what Arizona's going to do. I think with Yohan Moncada struggling really bad for them, he's pretty much just a seamless replacement for him. Maybe he has to be in the deal, but if you can keep him and hopefully he gets things going, Marte's a hell of a baseball player. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Extremely underrated every year. He signed that deal with Arizona. I don't know how much that affects everything here. I don't. Maybe a lot. Maybe not at all.
Do you think Chicago entertain trading Jose Abreu?
I mean, it's going to depend how this next week goes.
Yeah, I don't see them re-signing him to a lucrative deal. He's going to be 35, or he's 35. So like, I could see him trying to get something for him.
I think that it would. I don't think they will because I don't think you're going to be able to get too much for him, and I think that's just a total sell move, and I don't think they'll be wanting to sell. I think, maybe if somebody gets injured this last week or whatever it is, and things just go to hell, maybe then. But I just think that they're in that awkward period where I don't feel like they can give up because their division isn't the best, and they're supposed to be good. Like this team is supposed to be really good. It wouldn't shock me at the end of the day. I'm not gonna be honest. I wouldn't be like, oh my god, but we'll see. We're gonna move on to the other team in the division, the Cleveland Guardians. Man, we've talked about them numerous times on the show. You never know what to expect from good old Cleveland. You really don't. But there's one player. One position, I should say, that is really drawing me to Cleveland, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
So I think we might be on the same page here. I don't know.
I think so.
But the name that I keep coming back to with this is Wilson Contreras from the Cubs. I just think the Guardians need a catcher, and I think he's the best one that's on the market, and I don't see why the Cubs would keep him. You could
Yeah.
get a nice haul from that.
Yeah.
Be kind of ironic, Contreras going to the Guardians, considering the Cubs beat them to win the World Series with Contreras. So like it'd be kind of a funny story there. But I would actually love the fit of Contreras going to play in Cleveland.
Yeah, we're on the same wavelength a little bit. My catcher, I'm going to give them. I think Sean Murphy of the A's fits a little bit better. He'll be a little cheaper. Just feels more like a Clevelander. To be honest, that's really all it is. I think Wilson Contreras is a better baseball player for sure, but Sean Murphy's a much better defender than Wilson Contreras is. And I think that's what he's an upgrade at offensively no matter what. No matter who they bring in, they're better offensively right away. So I think Sean Murphy coming in and being better offensively, but still being an elite defensive catcher is kind of more of their route that they'll take. But Cleveland will get a catcher one way or the other. It might not be either of these two. Maybe we see a surprise somewhere else. But I'm pretty confident Cleveland's walking out of here with a catcher.
I mean, they're right in the middle of that wild card hunt.
Yeah,
they're only a couple games back here, so that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. We're gonna move on, switch up the gear a little bit, and just talk about some specific players and some of the landing spots that they can land. We touched on a couple of them already, just briefly there, and we're gonna start with the one we haven't touched on though. That's Frankie Montas. He's probably the second best starting pitcher available, depending on how you view him. But yeah, he had that shoulder injury. Kind of scared teams away a little bit. He came out, started again. Frankie Montas, where do you see him ending up here at the deadline?
I think he's going to end up with the Minnesota Twins.
I like it.
I think the Twins I don't want to say they see blood in the water, but I think they see blood in the water a little bit with this division. They're only a couple games up, but getting a guy like Montas adding a guy like him to the rotation, I think it easily helps them keep control of that division and get back to the playoffs.
Yeah, I
just think he would be perfect, alongside Sonny Gray and all. Dylan Bundy has been kind of up and down, so like you want to get more stability within that rotation.
Much like I think Cleveland's going to walk out of here with the catcher, the Twins are definitely going to add some sort of starting pitching. I like the Chris Paddock move, but he just, Tommy John, like, what are you going to do about it? It sucks.
You can't do much, yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible for everybody. Sonny Gray's been pretty good. They have some young guys maybe they could call up, but I think that Frankie Montas makes a lot of sense for the Twins. And I mean, Tyler Mahle they've even been rumored to be on a Luis Castillo deal as well. It's a little bit of a weird situation for them because they just flipped Jose Barrios last year. So it just feels like they're going to just like kind of, switching and just kind of going back to what they were.
Well, and who knows? But I think they might try to go all in a little bit this year because they don't know if Carlos Correa is going to be there next year. He could opt out and then he's not there, obviously.
Yeah, so
I think the Twins might try to take
that approach. Here. I got you. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Move on to our next guy. You touch on him a little bit. We're going to talk about Andrew Benintendi for a second. And I want to start the question with this. We've always seen him rumored to the Yankees, and that feels like a thing. But, his vaccination status came out. He can't play in Toronto. How much of a factor do you think this plays in the Yankees' decisions ultimately to pursue Benintendi?
Realistically, I don't think it's going to play much of a factor. I just don't. The Yankees want to win, right? Mm-hmm. They want to win, and apparently they're being aggressive in trying to get him. So, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if he ends up with the Yankees though.
I don't either.
I kind of like him on the Mets.
The Mets.
I kind of like the Mets for Benintendi. I really do. I think he would fit in perfectly with that clubhouse. You would only have to worry really about the vaccination status if they met the Jays in the World Series. And at that point, you figure that out. I think he ends up in New York, but not with the team a lot of people are pushing him towards.
I don't hate it. I haven't really thought about the Mets too much. A team that I think I could see swooping in on him, it's a little bit different. They've been a little rough of late. But I could see the Phillies going after Mr. Benintendi. He's another just a good hitter. He's a hitter that they don't have though. They don't really have that top of the lineup guy. with Gene Segura being hurt, and even when he's back, they can coexist easily. He's immediately your best defensive player in general, which is something they need so bad.
Desperately need, yeah.
So I don't know if they feel like they're close enough to make that kind of move. But I mean, like, if that team gets hot, Benintendi, Segura, and then you still have Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos, Realmuto, Hoskins, that team is scary. That team is scary. It might not pan out, but if that team clicks, that's unreal. It's an unreal group.
I mean, they're having a down year. I thought they would be a lot better than what they are.
Yeah.
But
losing Harper sucks.
3 games
obviously.
over 500, so.
Yeah. I can see it. But then lastly for this, the obvious segment, Josh Bell. I think obviously everybody knows what the Nationals are doing. I think there's a lot of suitors for Josh Bell. I think he's probably the most underrated trade piece, and that is more than 100% going to be dealt. Josh Bell's a switch hitting first baseman, average defensively, maybe a little below average, but it's bad again. Switch hitting, power hitting, he does it all at the plate, and that's really all you're looking for. I think he has plenty of suitors. I'm interested to hear who you think.
I think he's going to have suitors. I mean, it's come out that the Red Sox are interested, the Mets are interested. I think when the dust settles, Josh Bell is going to be wearing a Milwaukee Brewers jersey.
I like that. I like it.
The Brewers need hitting, and Josh Bell can hit.
Yeah.
So I think it's a match made in heaven at this point, and I think the Brewers can get him without having to give up too much.
Again, the Brewers don't have the farm system.
I don't see the Nationals trading him to the Mets. I just don't. So I think the Brewers make a lot of logical sense.
Yeah. I said it last week on the show, I think. Josh Bell has always just been a Red Sox to me, but these last couple of weeks have really changed my mind. I don't know if the Red Sox are going to be buyers in general. So that's issue number one. That's really the only issue with that statement.
Houston too. The Astros apparently are heavily interested.
That's who I was going to say. I could see them making a run at Josh Bell. I also think Houston could make a run. I'm glad you said that. I think Wilson Contreras will be an Astro. That's where I think he'll end up. Josh Bell makes some sense as well. The Astros don't turn down good players. They'll add whoever they can add if they're better than who they have. It doesn't matter who it is. They can add another. If they want to improve their fifth starter and go get Luis Castillo, they will. That's just what they do. It's what good organizations do. I really do like the Brewers fit for Josh Bell. I really do. I like the Red Sox. I'm still gonna lean the Red Sox simply because I don't think he's a crazy expensive piece. But I think it's somebody that they can really get value from.
Do you see the? I was high on the Red Sox, but the last couple of weeks have been.
It's been miserable.
Yeah, it's been bad.
It's been absolutely brutal. And
1-9 in the last 10 games, and they are only a half game up on the Baltimore Orioles for last place in that division.
To be fair, I mean, even they haven't been good, but they are still in the middle of the wild card race. We know they're good.
Do you blow it up though a little bit?
I don't know.
Like I know we're not doing about buyers and sellers, but I think that's a question. If you're the Red Sox, you have to figure that out. You have all these players that are going to be free agents next year.
Mm-hmm.
Xander Bogaerts is a free agent, I believe. It's just.
Yeah, I know we're switching up a little bit. Let's just go kind of segue into that a little bit and talk about some surprise guys that could be dealt and talk about this Red Sox team because there are so many players. If the Red Sox decide to blow it up, or not even blow it up, if they just decide to be half sellers, I mean, bro, JD Martinez is instantly probably becomes the second most attractive hitter. I mean, outside of Juan Soto, obviously, it has to be JD Martinez. The interest on that guy would be unreal. The list would be every team that thinks they can make the playoffs. I mean,
yeah. I just look. You have, if you're the Red Sox, Martinez, Bogaerts has a player option next year. Devers. I mean, you're not going to probably trade Devers, but he's going in his final year of arbitration. Then he's a free agent.
Yeah, I think Devers will be safe. Bogaerts wouldn't shock me.
But I don't know. I just feel the Red Sox just don't scream contenders to me.
Yeah, I know.
I thought they would be, but they have not played very good baseball.
And another team that's very similar that really could affect the trade market. You touch on a player from that team earlier. That's the San Francisco Giants. If they wanted to blow it up, I mean, they have Rodon. They have Jack Peterson, like you said. They got some other quality role players that can be dealt. They're an older team. Their window is closed. Let's be real. Like, I think it might be time for this Giants team to blow it up. And if they just traded Rodon and Peterson, their farm system is replenished. Just like that.
Yeah. And then they can kind of go make whatever deal they want in the next couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think, like, if Rodon was...
Their chance was last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If Rodon was made available, I mean, he's the best starter on the market immediately. I still think, Luis Castillo have plenty of suitors that would be pretty close with them. But, I mean...
I think Castillo could get more than Rodon.
Yeah, because he's got the year control for sure.
Control, yeah.
But just for right now, if you're looking to win, like I think Luis Castillo would be the better trade piece. But I think Rodon.
I think if Rodon becomes available, I think you will see the Yankees and the Astros bidding for him.
Yeah,
those are the two teams I would keep an eye on if Rodon becomes available.
Yeah, you got any other little surprises over there before I get to mine?
There is a team that I think could shock some people and make a decently sized move, and that's the Tampa Bay Rays. Look,
yeah.
I know I've talked about this before, but this past offseason, the Rays were literally in on the Freddie Freeman sweepstakes. They only offered like $20 million less than the Dodgers did.
Yeah.
They got him. So that signals to me that the Rays want to start winning. They want to start, getting some of these like decent players into that system. A move to go get like a Luis Castillo or a Frankie Montas.
Kevin Kiermaier out for the year. Mike Zunino out for the year. A catcher makes a lot of sense. Oh, a team that those two people, not only Wilson Contreras, Ian Happ.
Yeah, why not do a multiplayer deal?
Yeah,
I feel like it's time for the Rays to try to get a few players into that system that aren't just like quote no names that people don't know about.
And Ian Happ, Wilson Contreras
some
inserted
star power in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Rays are always good no matter who's on that roster. You might as well try to win something.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Imagine if that Rays team from 2 years ago had a player like Luis Castillo on that rotation.
Yeah.
Maybe things end up differently.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And this one that I'm about to say, I don't see it happening. I think this is not a lock to happen, but I think this move will happen in the offseason at the very least. But I think that the Milwaukee Brewers need to trade Josh Hader. Small market team. They're not paying Josh Hader long term, and if they do, it's just a wrong decision when you have Devin Williams right there in front of you. Focus on Devin Williams. And if you make this move now at the deadline, you can kind of make a parallel move to where you're adding a legit bat for Josh Hader, where you're not getting worse, but your offense gets so much better, and that's where they're missing. Like Josh Hader hasn't even been great this year either. So like he's Josh Hader, he's still good, but just getting bats for right now in the long term could be so good for them, and I don't know how much they really lose. Like obviously losing Josh Hader is, he's probably the best closer in the game, but he's not going to be here long term. And depending on what bats you get back, I don't know if it makes you worse at all. I just don't.
I don't hate it. Look, the Brewers need hitting. We talked about it. They need hitting, and they've had a strong bullpen for years, and it hasn't gotten them anywhere.
No.
So maybe you switch it up a little bit and trade Hader. You've been talking about trading this dude for the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think it'll happen in the offseason at the least. I don't think it'll happen right now, but I do think that's an inevitable move that's going to happen. He's going to have suitors. I think if it became available, instantly the Toronto Blue Jays shoot up rapidly. I think the Yankees would be extremely interested as well. He's one of those people. Everybody would want him. Every team in the playoffs.
Him and stop relying on Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
In playoff games.
Yeah. So
that could work for the Yankees.
Yeah, I don't see it happening because they're in contention. I don't see it happening in the year, but it wouldn't shock me. I think it'd probably be a smart thing to do. We're gonna move on to
it's more likely to happen at the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will happen in the offseason. Now we're gonna move on to the two biggest names on the trade block. Obviously, we have Juan Soto. We're gonna start with the lesser known big name, That's our guy Luis Castillo, the Cincinnati Reds here. Now, here's a trade we have mocked up with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers are obviously in on everybody, and the Reds have been rumored to be talking about trades for this guy for years now. And here we are. Matt, you're a little bit of a Dodgers fan here. I'm a Reds fan here, so it just worked out. Talk about why you think Luis Castillo to the Reds is a good fit.
I mean, look, the Dodgers are going to be in on any big name that comes out, right? We've known this since Freeman took over. He goes in sneakily on these moves, right? They're linked to Castillo right now. They're linked to Juan Soto, who we'll talk about in a minute. But the Dodgers don't need Juan Soto. They just don't. Their offense is really good. I mean, to be fair, they probably don't need Castillo either. I mean, they're getting by right now while Walker Buehler and Dustin May are both out. And they're going to be getting both of those guys back in the next month or two. But if you are the Dodgers, right, you get Luis Castillo. You can then pair him with Walker Buehler and Julio Urias for the next couple of years. Urias is going to be a free agent soon, but I think they'll probably end up resigning him. Buehler also. And Castillo's under control for next season. Both Tyler Anderson, Tyler Anderson is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. He's pitched incredible, but they're not going to pay him.
And Trujillo as well.
He's been on the
but still, he's still a free agent. That's what I meant.
Who knows what's going to happen with Tony Gonsolin? Like we've already kind of seen a little bit of regression from him. So go get Luis Castillo. Get some insurance into that starting rotation.
Yeah, and
like
you're good.
You're going to be having to play a stacked Braves team in the playoffs.
Yeah,
possibly a stacked Mets team in the playoffs. The Brewers aren't if they get some hitting, they'll be good. The Cardinals, who knows what the Cardinals are going to do? Go get Luis Castillo.
Yeah.
Like I think the Dodgers need Luis Castillo a lot more than they do someone like Juan Soto.
I agree. And from a Reds perspective here, I think that this trade, the Dodgers always have made the most sense for Luis Castillo. Just not only because the Dodgers need Luis Castillo, but just their farm system lines up. The way we have this trade working right here, it's centered around two outfield prospects, specifically Andy Pages and Jose Ramos. Again, Pages is a little closer, Ramos not as close, but still, two legit outfield prospects, and the Reds' outfield farm system is bleak. So I think just getting that for sure locks things up. And then you come in with Hurt, who's, a low-level reliever or a mid-level reliever now, just solid arm, nothing crazy. The Reds' bullpen's the worst in the league by a lot. It's really banged up, but still just adds a little bit of value in a position of need. And then the other main headlining pitcher is Landon Knack. People talk about knowing how to pitch. If you have the good stuff, or if you know how to pitch, he knows how to pitch. And I think that's what the Reds like. They have a lot of people that have the really good stuff, the hard fast. Look at Hunter Green, 103 with a 6 slider. And that's a little bit of that opposite. He just is going to locate super well. He knows how to pitch. And then lastly, the first baseman, Joey Votto can't play forever. This guy just has super high walk to strikeout ratio. Just makes a lot of sense here. Like it just makes a lot of sense. The Reds get their outfielders. They get some little bit of pitching depth. They get some first base depth. I think everybody's happy. You still get your headliner and Andy Pages. Just makes sense to me. It makes sense. As a Reds fan, personally, it would make me pretty happy. I
know there's going to be fans out there that are thinking, if the Dodgers is going to be like a deal around like Bobby Miller, I think he's in Double-A right now. But Andrew Freeman, I'm going to sit here and tell you, Andrew Freeman is not trading Bobby Miller in a Luis Castillo deal. Bobby Miller will only be traded in a Juan Soto type deal.
Yeah, and again, this is the website we use. It's a great website, but it's not the most accurate thing in the world. Every team has different assigned values for players. So for the Reds, they might not want Bobby Miller, I'm not saying, or they might want Miguel Vargas, who's a lot higher on some people's boards. Just whatever. It's just these are the generic outline of a deal that we see working for both sides. And remember, I think people underrate Luis Castillo a little bit, because he has that whole year of control still. It's not just a couple month rental. You have him all of next year as well. I think that's going to drive up the price. He's the best starting pitcher on the market, second best player on the market in general. Like, teams need pitching with a shortened year. Injuries are racking up. He is going to be in high demand. And no matter if you don't want to believe that, that's fine. But he's in high demand. I can promise you teams are going to have to more overpay them for him than you guys think. But we still have another Luis Castillo deal we want to get to. And let me find it here. Here we go. We got this one with the New York Yankees. The Yankees have been rumored to be in on Luis Castillo for so long. But talk about why Luis Castillo makes sense in a Yankees uniform.
Why doesn't he make sense in the Yankees uniform? I mean, you said it before. Like, he's the best starting pitcher on the market right now, and I think the Yankees could easily benefit from this. I mean, this Yankees offense is loaded, but come playoff time, the Yankees rotation has been good, right? But we've seen some cracks in it a little bit. I mean, Severino's been hit or miss. I mean, Garrett Cole is going to be Garrett Cole. That we're not worried about him. But if you can add a guy next to Garrett Cole, like Luis Castillo, the Yankees have a very good shot at winning a World Series.
Yeah, and Tyler Naquin is also supposed to be in this deal to get for the Yankees. Just another left-handed, a bat. I just forgot to put him in, but continue, man.
Yeah, like I think, look, if you're the Reds, if you have the Yankees and the Dodgers bidding with you for your best for the player, you already won. Let's just say that, because you know both farm systems are strong, and they're going to try to outbid each other because they don't want the other team to get that set player.
Yeah.
Because imagine, look, the Dodgers have dealt with this already. Back in 2017, they were rumored, let's go get Justin Verlander. They didn't want to pay the price for Justin Verlander. Said they went out and got Yu Darvish. The Astros met up with the Dodgers in the World Series. We all know what happened with the cheating scandal, but still, Justin Verlander going to the Astros came back to bite the Dodgers because Yu Darvish was not good in that World Series. Justin Verlander was. So imagine if it's something like the Yankees go out and get Castillo, Dodgers go get like a Frankie Montas or something, and they meet up in the World Series. Same thing happens. You're going to be regretting it. So these two teams are going to be battling it out for him.
Yeah, and I think why the Reds, the Yankees, Yankees fans are all over the place with the value of their prospects. So this is kind of the deal I kind of see taking place. I think that Peraza is going to be the centerpiece here. For sure. I don't think the Yankees shouldn't give up Volpe. In my opinion, they shouldn't give up Jason Dominguez. Peraza is the next logical option in my opinion. He's close, he's ready to be. He could, if this trade happens, he's Cincinnati's starting shortstop tomorrow. That's just the kind of guy. He's ready. But the Yankees don't have a spot for him. Volpe needs a little bit more time. You can then promote him to AAA. It helps everybody's development there. And then again, you have You have a little bit of everything in this deal. That's why it's so nice for the Reds. I'm just going to go down the list. Miguel Andujar. Say what you want about him. He hasn't had the best opportunity in New York. It's just a flyer. The Reds have all the opportunity in the world to give a guy like that playing time. Maybe that's what he needs. If he's good, he's good. If he sucks, he sucks. Whatever. The catching prospect, very good. He just got promoted, been hitting the ball well in the minors. Again, the catching depth with the Reds organization has been an issue. Tyler Stevenson can't stay healthy to save his life this year. Just pretty unfortunate. Maybe you can move Tyler Stevenson outside of behind the plate. Let this guy go. Just a little bit of everything. Again, just some security. Not much value there, as you see. And some of the bigger names. Esteban Florial, another outfielder. The Reds need outfielding prospects so bad. He's another guy that's really close. And then you see the two pitchers. The Reds have scouted Will Warren several times. And then Ken Waldichuk. You need a headlining pitcher if you're dealing with Luis Castillo. And for the Reds, it just checks every little box. I think you can maybe get better headliners. If, for other teams, you can maybe get their 2 and their 3 or their 3 and their 4 or whatnot. But this one, I like it just because you still get the headliner with Peraza. You still get a good pitching prospect with Waldichuk. But then you fill out players that just the Yankees don't need. They're not going to, when's Miguel Andujar going to play meaningful minutes for the Yankees? You know what I mean? He just has no value to
Reds. If I'm the Reds, between just these two, let's just say these two deals are on the table, right? I think I'm leaning towards the Yankees deal.
Yeah, I think just because there's just a little bit of everything. Just a little bit of everything. And I think all these players, outside of Warren and really outside of Warren, I think all these people can be on the Red in Cincinnati right away. They don't have to wait, really. You
That's
know,
more saying about the Reds than anything.
yeah, but the Reds are going to be trading everybody too. And again, Tyler Naquin is in this deal for the Yankees, so you get a solid lefty bat, just another outfield option. Tyler Naquin is just solid. That's really he is. He's not nothing special. Solid defender, solid hitter, solid speed, just a little bit of everything there.
I think Castillo realistically ends up with one of these two teams.
I agree. I think I agree.
Like, there's talk about the Rangers. We talked about maybe the Mariners, the Astros, someone Twins.
Yep.
But I think realistically, when it comes down to it, he's going to be wearing blue or pinstripes.
Yeah, we talked about it too. An underrated aspect of this, which opens the possibility for anybody to come get him, is the fact he has another year of control. So it doesn't have to be just a this year thing. That's enough for Luis Castillo for now. We're gonna move on to the man of the week, the man of the deadline, Juan Soto, and we're starting with this behemoth of a trade. That's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Washington Nationals. And I'm gonna tell you what. When the report first came out, my mind did not initially go, "Oh, he's gonna be a St. Louis Cardinal." I'll tell you what. That's not what happened. That's not what anybody thought. Maybe besides a couple Cardinals fans. But the more you sit here and look at it, I find it hard to believe the Cardinals aren't the front runners. I mean, bro, they have MLB talent now. Look at this deal, bro. Dylan Carlson, phenomenal switch hitting outfielder, 23 years old. Nolan Gorman, second, third baseman, play a little bit of first, even some outfield if you want. 22 years old. Matthew Liberatore, you get your headlining starter. He's had an up and down time in the majors so far. Whatever. And then Mason Wynn in the Futures game threw 100 miles per hour from shortstop, an elite defensive prospect, high hitting, a little bit of an old school vibe. And then again, you get another left-handed pitcher, Edmundo Sosa, another decent, not even prospect, another decent MLB guy now. Just so hard to see this deal really being topped, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at the Cardinals as the front runners. The problem, it's weird because I've talked to a few Cardinals fans and they want no part of Juan Soto. They do not want to gut this team just to get Juan Soto. But if you're the Cardinals, I feel like you kind of need to make a move like this. You've been kind of stuck in the mud for the last few years, and this is a franchise that's proud, right? They win. We've seen them win multiple times, and yes, you're giving up a lot, but you're getting one of the top 5 players in baseball.
Yeah,
and I think they are the front runner at this point. Looking at the different deals and everything. But so this deal in just retrospect, I think this gives everything the Nationals want. MLB ready talent, prospects,
young MLB talent.
They get everything. Literally everything that the Nationals could want for giving up a guy like Juan Soto.
Yeah.
And then the Cardinals now get Juan Soto on that roster for the next 3 postseasons.
Dude,
one of the issues with this, can the Cardinals afford to pay Juan Soto?
That's where it gets tricky.
Available to get an extension.
I almost feel like the Cardinals don't care about that as much as other teams because you have Paul Goldschmidt.
Your team for 2 years of Juan Soto than to let him possibly walk.
I know. I know. And if you look at it might not be the best thing, but I just think they care a little bit less because Paul Goldschmidt's playing at an MVP level right now. He's probably the MVP right now. Nolan Arenado, same way. Tommy Edman, career year. Adding Juan Soto into that, immediately takes you to the front. It's going to lock you in at the playoffs until Juan Soto is gone if he leaves because the division is so weak. But I know they gave up a lot here. I'm not going to sit here and say they didn't. But you still keep Jordan Walker, your number 1 prospect. You still keep Ivan Herrera, your number 3 or 4 prospect. You still keep Juan Yepes. Don't get me wrong. This is haul. Absolute haul. But there's still some building blocks in place. It's not the building blocks you would have if you don't trade for Juan Soto, obviously. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to if they want to be players in extending Juan Soto.
Yeah. And also, let's also not forget, one thing that I think a lot of people are not talking about in these Juan Soto trades, the Nationals are trying to dump some contracts in this as well.
Yeah.
So if you're a team that's acquiring Juan Soto, you need to be able to then take on, I'm assuming, Patrick Corbin's contract.
Yeah, and this is one of the cases where we didn't include that because the Cardinals can't do that.
We don't think the Cardinals.
But yeah, we're gonna look at a trade where that does happen a little bit now. Where let me find it. But again, like that's a lot, and here it is with the Padres. They can afford Juan Soto.
It lessens the prospects or the amount you have to give a little bit. But you have to then pay this man all this money, and he's been awful.
Yeah.
He's been so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough, man. But just this deal in general here, we included Patrick Corbin to lessen the load a little bit, but we talked about it. I don't think it's going to lessen the load as much as people really think it is. Like, we see a negative 54 value here, which, again, it's everything. Every team's is different. This is just theirs. It's a good website to use to get a base, and that's all we're doing here. I think it's more closer to a 20 to 30 because it's Juan effing Soto, man. Like a 23-year-old superstar locked in, and obviously you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay for it. I mean, look at this deal for the Nationals here. That from the Padres. I mean, headlined by C.J. Abrams and Mackenzie Gore. And you throw in Robert Hassel as well. That's an amazing big three. It's very similar to that Cardinals deal, just a little bit younger guys. Haven't proven it as much yet. Mackenzie Gore has shown dominant flashes as a starter. I think if you're comparing deals, he's way better than Matthew Liberatore is. But I think the upside of the Carlsons and the Gormans are probably a little higher than C.J. Abrams. But Abrams has game-changing speed, man. Like Robert Hassel, he's a little bit farther away. But then you still got, some okay major leaguers with Hassan Kim, Reese Kiner on the come up a little bit. Cedeno as well to kind of fill in, give you some more flyers. I think this deal gets sold on Mackenzie Gore, Hassel, and Abrams, and the rest is just kind of icing on the cake a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think this deal kind of makes the Nationals salivate when they look at it, though. My opinion, because you're getting off of Patrick Corbin's contract, right? You're still getting a crap ton of talent back. The issue for me with the Padres is are they going to be able to afford Juan Soto? Because they're already paying Fernando Tatis. They're already paying Manny Machado. I think they could do it. I think they're one of the few teams that could end up giving up $500 million. But
yeah,
I think that's the question that, these front offices are making. Because it's you're not just trading for Juan Soto just to have him for 2 years. If you are gutting your team, you're probably under that mindset.
Yeah, under that mindset that
you're under the mindset just to kind of you have to pay the man.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, the Padres are one of those teams. We can include the Dodgers in this. We talk about if the Dodgers want somebody, they're gonna go get them. It's really just that simple. I don't think the Yankees make too much sense for Soto. I don't think the Mets are really
they're not trading the Mets.
They're just
Nationals are not giving the Mets Juan Soto to watch him terrorize them.
Yeah, that's just not happening.
Let's be clear. You just said this. Let's just be clear about this. If the Dodgers want Juan Soto, they are going to get Juan Soto.
Yeah.
I don't care what the Cardinals are offering. I don't care what the Padres are offering. The Dodgers can put together the best possible package for Juan Soto. Yeah. And the crazy thing is they could do it, and their farm system's still going to be very strong. That's a testament to what Andrew Freeman has built out in LA.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think he's going to be a Dodger. It wouldn't shock me if he is, but I don't think he's going to be. I don't think Andrew Freeman guts the team like that, but you never know. That's the thing. You just never know.
That's why the MLB trade deadline is so fun. We just gave you all these predictions. None of them will probably come true. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's fun. It's unexpected. That's what makes.
Once there's gonna be a red, that's what's gonna happen.
That's what makes every deadline so much fun. I just want to thank you guys for watching this week's edition of Walk Off Wednesday. Next week, we'll have some more reactions to the trades. We'll see how many we got right, how many we got wrong, what came out of nowhere, and just really, comment down below what moves you want to see your guys' team make. There's so many possible moves that we didn't even touch on. So many players that will be dope. Let us know what you guys want to see down below, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys here next week. See ya.